Hey y'all, you guys have probably seen me in the other videos. My name is Eli and I get to be part of the Wild West Brew Fest here in Pflugerville. And standing just off screen is the amazing Casey Nall, our volunteer captain, who I know that you guys have had contact with or received some emails. So we talked already about what's at your table. Next, let's talk about the punch card, because we reiterated a couple things on that. So if I'm working at a station pouring beer, Casey is going to approach with her card. Extreme close up. Now, all the guests that come in will have a card. This is the magical card on how they get their beer. They will also have a taster glass similar to this, all right? And that is where we're gonna pour the product, okay? There will be pint glasses around at the event. See, I'm not a professional actor.
We're not professionals, it's okay.
We will have pint glasses around the area at the event. No beer goes in those pint glasses on the day of the event, only our taster glasses. Now, let's talk about this card really quick. So on the card, you will see several different stars. There'll have 12 of those to be exact, and each one of those is good for a beer. So when Casey comes up to my table and wants to have a sample of beer in her glass, I'm going to punch 1 star for a sample of beer. A sample of beer is half of the glass, okay? Now, we're not gonna be on you to be super accurate, but eyeball that and give us a half a pour, right? We wanna have a good time. Now, if Casey really likes that beer and she comes back and goes, hey Eli, I want a full glass of this, I really like this, I'm gonna punch 2 punches for a full taste sample of that specific beer.
Eli, is that just 1 extra punch or is it 2 actual punches?
So it is 2 actual punches for a full taster glass of beer, 1 punch for a sample, which is a half. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Now, another thing is wine, okay? If you're in the wine grotto, again, we're gonna be using the same taster glasses. Wine has a higher alcohol by volume naturally. And so what's gonna happen for a 2-ounce sample, that is going to be 2 punches, okay? For a full glass of wine, it'll be 4 punches. So again, half glass on beer is 1 punch, full glass on beer, 2 punches. Half glass of wine, 2 punches because you're higher alcohol by volume, and a full glass will be 4 punches. Now, just like the wine having a higher alcohol by volume, some of our beers that we'll be serving will be a higher alcohol by volume as well. Any of our beers that are above 8% alcohol by volume follow the same rule as wine. So a half is 2 punches, a full is 4 punches. Now, so make sure that when you get to the station, you're familiar with the beer, what the alcohol by volume is. If there's any of the beers that you're pouring that are higher than 8%, ask the brewer who's at that table with you, and he can go over all that with you. So again, just want to reiterate, we talked about this briefly, is that you are going to sometimes have guests coming up and say, don't punch it, or hey, get me another one, or you'll have sometimes the brewers who might try to sneak an extra pour in there. So our job as volunteers, again, this is a charity event, right? All the proceeds go back to the community. We want to make sure that we're holding everybody accountable, punching that. Now, the final thing I do want to talk about is at the very bottom, we have 1 extra punch. Yes, that is a punch. I know it says free beer, but that is a free sample. So that's 1 additional punch for a 2-ounce sample. So again, it's not a full beer, okay? Final thing I want to talk about is if you are in a can zone. We have limited can zones. These can zones are the only spots at the Brew Fest that can give a full can of beer away to their guests. And so no tasting stations are allowed to give a full can of beer, only the can zone. If you're working one of the can zones, you notice how these have 6 on each side. You will punch 6 punches for a 12-ounce can of beer and be able to give the guest a full can of beer at a can zone.
Make sure if you're giving a full can of beer that you pop the top. It's important because it's TABC regulation, and it's illegal for us to give a canned beer, any open or unopened product, to a consumer.
Absolutely, and then just tagging on to the end of that is that no guest is allowed to leave with any product outside. And they can't put a beer in their pocket, can't put a beer in their backpack and take any product outside of this event. We do not have an off-premise license, it's on-premise, so the guests have to enjoy their product here with us. So again, just one more time, I want to recap. When the guest comes up with a card, it is 1 punch for a half glass of beer, It is 2 punches for a full sample of beer. For wine or any beer that's over 8% ABV, it is 2 punches for a half. It is 4 punches for a full glass. Again, y'all, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for volunteering. If you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Casey. Can't wait to see you at the Brew Fest.